Good morning. I want to talk today a little about how we cook consciously. Gujarati food comes from a tradition of oral cooking. What do we mean by that? Oral cooking is basically heard recipes. Our listening is developed far more strongly than our eyes. In the Western cooking, the eyes are very, very developed to how it looks, and you have to follow the recipe to the T. Now, when I was young, I used to find it very boring to look at recipes because I was brought up in this tradition of oral cooking. You learned cooking through organically, through just kind of being in a situation where food was happening, or in an environment where food was happening. And being a young girl growing up in various places like Uganda and Africa and India, I was able to sort of soak in the rich culture of food. My mother used to prepare food for many family members as well as guests that were always coming and going. We also made a lot of our snacks living in Kampala. So Abonio and Mary, who were our helpers, were always making things like chevdo and mesur and sukri and all these Diwali snacks. So I used to kind of weave in and out of the kitchen to kind of learn a bit at a time. We even used to make things like papdi and papad. So I have kind of had a lot of soaking in from this rich oral tradition. So right from the start, I want to tell my viewers that you're not going to see a very rigid recipe coming from me. I want you to develop a thinking muscle that basically says, okay, I want to be conscious whilst I'm cooking. I want to be aware when I'm cooking. I want to get a feel of how much salt, how much chili, how much coriander, how much turmeric I like personally and I need for this dish. So I remember a long while ago, my mother-in-law had asked me for a recipe, and instead of saying 1 teaspoon of salt, I had said 1 tablespoon of salt. And she had just kind of, followed that recipe to the T, not thinking that this is far too much salt for this quantity. And then she rang me and said, Ragini, I've tasted this and it's so salty. And I then realized that in this oral tradition, we do not predefine quantities in that very, very formulaic way. So we are going to be meditating and becoming aware as we cook, and we're going to be consciously cooking. Having said that, I will, if one really pushes me, then I will begin to give you some written, directions. But I suggest that you really go towards this conscious way of cooking, because it will help you. Now, I understand that if you're cooking sophisticated French gâteaux, you're going to need, sort of scientific precision. But Gujarati cooking, although it's very, very sophisticated, it's not so formulaic. And in that is its beauty, in that I've eaten dishes which are traditional in many, many places within my family and friend circles. And each individual makes that particular recipe in a different way because they combine it to their taste. So every food item that comes out of a kitchen is unique as the individual who cooked it. And you will also develop a unique way of cooking it, and it will be your formula, not my formula. It'll be your formula. I'm just here to persuade you to cook and to be inspired and to begin to have this sort of conscious fun. We will make mistakes along the way, but the best way to learn is to make mistakes. Remain conscious in making your mistakes so that you don't make the same mistake again. So with that, I'm hoping that you will read this in the way that it's intended and have a deeper understanding of the oral culture. Now, the oral culture also is a herd culture, meaning it is listened to and it never dies. No matter who comes along and burns your books or takes them away, you've got it in you. And you could be, you know, traveling as I did when I was young. I didn't have any recipe books when I was traveling, when I was 17, 18 and lived in Saint-Tropez for a while and created this incredible meal for lots of people that they went on to talk about for many, many years afterwards. So the great thing is you take your knowledge wherever you go. You don't rely on books and written things. You become complete. And that's part of my thinking, bringing you this cuisine. That's what I'd like to give to you. So I'm really looking forward to all the things we're going to learn together. We'll play and make mistakes, but we will grow. So let's grow together.